Welcome to Kpod, where we unveil the world of architecture, property, and design. In today's episode, we're thrilled to have Keith Ryan, the Executive Director of the Housing Industry Association in Victoria, a leading figure in the industry. For this episode, joining us as a co-host is Jai Fisher, the co-owner of the Three8 Building Group. I'm your host, Katerina Kapellaki, and this is Kpod. Today's Kpod is proudly brought to you in collaboration with Grupo Cosentino and Three8 Build Group.
In today's episode, I'm very excited and humbled to have a special co-host. A co-host which you may have seen before. Unless you haven't seen that episode, make sure you skip to it. We're here today co-hosting with Jai from Three8 Build Group.
Thank you, good to be here again.
Thank you so much for coming to co-host. We needed two hosts today because we're speaking to somebody very special, a good friend of ours and also the Executive Director of the HIA. Keith Ryan, welcome to you, Keith Ryan.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here today.
Thank you. I'm excited to have an open discussion. This is for everyone watching, architects, builders, designers, people in the building industry, as we've mentioned, property developers. So I think I'm sure that a lot of information given today will help a lot of our viewers, whether they're here or overseas.
Yes, definitely.
As well. I think they can take some of the components, whether they're overseas, although the HIA is more Australian based, but they can take some nuggets out of today's conversation.
I would expect so, yes.
Absolutely. So thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
So Keith, tell us a little bit about your journey. You're now with the HIA, very important role as the Executive Director. Give us a little bit of a feedback as to where you were before. What was your foot in the world?
Yes, well, I'm a lawyer by profession.
Yes.
So I started off having done a commerce and law degree, went to finish my law school, came across to Melbourne and finished my legal training and started working in commercial litigation, particularly ironically in the area of insolvency. After doing that for a while, I then found myself getting involved in construction law. I joined a small law firm, did some work with them for a few years, also did some consulting. Then, because I was studying part-time doing an MBA, I decided I needed a job which I thought would be a bit simpler. So I joined a government agency in Victoria called Vic Roads.
Oh, wonderful.
And that very quickly became a very busy job for a number of reasons. And I found myself getting involved in road transport regulation. And after a while, I moved into the national space and spent a few years helping to develop national transport reforms. So I worked within government, and I spent a lot of time actually working with all the state and territory governments on some reforms for trucks and buses and the like. After doing that, I got a bit bored and I thought it'd be nice to get back to doing something which uses my law degree in a more interesting way. So I found myself attracted to a job at HIA, which was running their Victorian and Tasmanian legal guidance operations. So I did that for a few years and got involved in a number of different areas, but essentially my job, and it's a job we still have people do today, was very much receiving information from members, giving them guidance and support about how to deal with contractual issues, registration or builder licensing issues. We don't necessarily go off and run court cases for them, but what we can do is point out the important things they need to know. And that role was a pretty important one because it gave our members a great deal of support when it came to just how to fill out their contracts, how to deal with disputes, how seriously a matter was. I did that for a long time. Then I found myself during the COVID pandemic here in Victoria. We had some extraordinary restrictions imposed on our society as a whole, and particularly on the home building industry. And there's a general misunderstanding out there by a lot of people that our industry wasn't really affected by COVID. That's actually not correct. We were subject to a lot of restrictions on movement of workers, numbers of workers on site, and they dragged out jobs dramatically.
Yep.
So I found myself working on that, and then I got promoted into an executive role, originally a deputy, but then about a year and a half ago, I found myself being appointed the executive director for the Victorian operations. So these days I spend most of my time putting up cases to government to try and fix some of the regulatory messes we have at the moment, but also helping guide our members through the wave of reforms that continue to come to our industry.
Could we delve a little bit more into that? So when you're liaising with the government, what sort of things are you taking to the government? What are you discussing with them? How does that work?
Look, yes, with government, realistically, we're one of many stakeholders who are pushing for things to be changed or fixed. My approach is very much to point out, first of all, and the government knows this, the importance of the home building industry. It is an industry that contributes so much to the Victorian economy and to the Australian economy as a whole. It provides a great source of work for hundreds of thousands of people, and most importantly, it creates homes for people to live in.
Yes.
And we really need to stress to government, and we continue to do this, that this is an industry that really matters. It is so important. It contributes so much of the tax revenue for government. It contributes so much of the work for people living in Victoria. But most importantly, it creates the homes they want.
Absolutely.
That's what we seek to achieve. So I have to stress that to government. The other key point I need to stress to them is that they have a tendency to impose more and more regulation and don't tend to understand that they impose regulations on people who are already struggling to deal with the amount of red tape, green tape, and other laws. Those people will continue to do their best to try and comply. But what we then find, though, is that as a segment, we will just ignore all those laws. And they'll continue to ignore laws, and no matter how much more the government regulates, that won't change their behaviour. The government needs to work with the industry, and that's a key point we always make.
Wonderful. And you're the one that's there doing all of that, helping the people, hearing not just the members, but hearing the people out there who are related to the built environment.
Yes.
Correct?
Definitely.
And then taking all of that, and so you're the ambassador of the housing and the built environment.
For Victoria, that's right. And
Correct.
look, I'm one of a team, so I do have some great support behind me in the technical area, the planning area, the legal area, and they are also important. But my job is to be very much the first person who goes and deals with most of these issues. And that's an important role, and it's one which our members need, and I'm very proud to have the chance to do it.
And we're lucky to have you at the forefront, to be honest. Speaking as a builder, and to know that we have someone like yourself in our corner fighting all those fights that we need done, that the sport starts at the top.
Yes.
We're lucky to have someone like you up there doing it for us.
I mean, you being a part of the HIA, and congratulations again, you are a HIA award winner,
Thank you.
2023.
Yes, very exciting.
Congratulations, we're looking forward to seeing
We're going
more.
for 2024, don't you worry.
We're looking forward to having you more there and present.
Welcome to Three8 Building Group, where dreams take shape. Our passion lies in crafting luxurious custom homes that stand the test of time. From the ground up, we blend innovation, quality, and sustainability to create spaces that resonate with your lifestyle. At Three8 Building Group, we understand that your home is more than just a structure. It's a reflection of your unique taste and personality. That's why we're committed to delivering exceptional craftsmanship and attention to detail in every project we undertake. Whether it's a new build, renovation, or extension, we're here to make it happen. With us, you can trust that your vision will be brought to life with precision and care. Three8 Building Group, where excellence meets elegance.
Let's talk about, you mentioned earlier before we started filming, you mentioned how you at one time had you always need their services. You're always in good hands. I always say to people about the HIA, you're in good hands because you do have that team. I mean, let's talk a little bit about what you needed them for at one point, one of the main times that you needed connection.
It can be a lonely place in the building industry as a builder, especially as a small builder. It really can be a lonely place. And when you're faced with situations that you're not familiar with or experienced in, that's where HIA come in to give you that support and make you feel comfortable. You have that team around you to give you that support that you need. And I think we've been with the HIA for a long time, but probably not used their services to the full degree that we should have. And we had a circumstance once where You know, we had a client have our contract reviewed by their lawyers and come back with quite a few technical questions. And I'm certainly not a lawyer. I'm only a builder, and you know, we're familiar with building contracts, but that certainly doesn't mean that we understand the full legality of everything. And I think I was probably sitting down with Mel, my wife, and thought, you know, who we need to call, like a lawyer, a construction lawyer, and get some. Hang on a minute, no, we don't. Call HIA, speak to them, and the support that we got from them was amazing. I was literally, within a couple of hours, they had the contract, they were reviewing the contract, they were calling me back, and we were having a great discussion with a lawyer that understands it, and he was able to explain not only the components that had been questioned in the contract, but other components that we added in that were provisions of ours in the contract, and he was able to shed some more light around those components, which was you know, hugely beneficial and something that I've taken away. So in that just one experience, I probably had 3 separate phone conversations and emails with the legal team at HIA to review this contract before we got to actually signing it. So the amount that I took away from those few moments that I can now take forever, and if these situations come up, I understand it so much more now. And it was at that time that I realised that, wow, you know, we have a great support here that we need to use more. And that was just the legal team, you know. There's all the other services that they provide as well. If you're just not sure about anything, you can literally call and get that advice that you need.
It's like it's like the question in business when you're starting a business: who would you have as directors at your board table? Right, in the boardroom, who would you have? And I think of the HIA that way because we have a team, we are supported, we have legal. Keith, if you can help me with this, we have legal arm, insurance.
We have the insurance business, which is a joint venture with Aon.
Yes.
We also have planning advice.
Yes.
And probably the one I want to stress the most is the technical support. The building code is getting more and more complicated. And HIA has an extraordinary team of technical advisors. Some of them have been in the industry for 40 years plus. Nothing really phases them. They know what builders are thinking. They know what sort of queries you have. And where they really add value, in my opinion, is that a lot of builders will look at some requirements or be unsure about what the Australian standards or the National Construction Code requires. They'll have an interpretation where I think HIA adds massive value is having someone to talk to, particularly when you're a small builder, who can say, yes, you've got it right, or hang on, no, you just missed this point. It doesn't matter. We're getting that confirmation support. Because most of the time our members will work it out, but having the comfort of knowing that, yes, I've spoken to someone else, here you can tell me, yes, I've understood this right, or almost, but I've just got to also think about this. That is where I think we add massive value. Because ultimately, I think we would rather help our members proactively before they get into trouble.
That's it, you can
We
avoid
would rather have them call us and say, I've got a situation, I think I should do this, but I just want to make sure. And that is where I find that we have often really helped our members. Because the fact that they can call, there's no quotas, you don't get a list saying, okay, you've called us twice this month, so therefore you can't call us again. If you need to speak to us, we'll speak to you. Sometimes we're very busy, we may take a little bit of time to get back to you, maybe 24 hours, but generally we will get back to you and we'll talk to you, because we know that when you're asking questions, you're not asking questions just for the sake of it. Even if it's just reassurance, that's still important, and that's where I think we have massive value.
It really does. I think just to reiterate around the turnaround time, you know, when I was having those contractual issues, I was worried about the turnaround time, but I was inquiring in the morning, answers within a few hours of that day, but certainly not any less than 24 hours. And I was thinking that, you know, it could be quite some time, but 24 hours was amazing, you know. So we were able to get through the process really quickly, which was nice. So the turnaround times are great, but we certainly got onto the topic of helping understand the technical side of the regulations and things which, you know, we could certainly go on for hours. I could anyway, because we are finding so many changes in the NCC and in the regulations. And it's a perfect time to talk about it now, because we have these new revisions coming in with 7 stars and livable housing and all these things. I've just been doing webinar after webinar with HIA the second they come out. I've got the NCC, I can read it, how do you interpret it and interpret it properly, and I can see different ways to interpret different things, and with these webinars and that support of HIA, I lean on that to go, hey, put it in layman's terms for me, someone that can break it down and put it simple for me. I've been using that a lot lately, and just with this transitional period that we've got now and lots of changes and things, that's paramount and it's priceless. It's hugely beneficial at the moment because you can really go the wrong way with all these changes.
Definitely, and look, we can't understate the impact of the livable housing, 7-star energy efficiency, 7-star whole of home energy efficiency, and also condensation management.
Yes, that's the
come
other
in as
one.
well.
Yeah.
And that's just part of what NCC 22 was. Some of it came through May last year.
Yep.
The rest comes through this year.
Yep.
And these changes are so significant that they are adding to the cost of, say, standard design homes sold by bigger builders, minimum of around $10,000, and often a lot more than that. And that's going to be a big impact on housing affordability. But I think, I'd also stress that we do run a lot of seminars about the NCC. 22 in particular has been a key issue for us. Where we add a lot of value there, I think also is that, yes, government agencies like Victoria Building Group, agencies across the country are running training as well, which is good. But there is a constraint on that type of training by government agencies, and that is the political imperative to not question, criticise the policy intent behind these changes. We can be franker. We can say to our members, look, livable housing, we know you don't necessarily think it's useful. Young family moving into a new home is probably going to be moving out well before they need to worry about those features. It doesn't matter. The government's imposed it, you just have to work with it. Whereas if you had a government session, they would tend to be more defensive and quite frankly waste a lot of time going through explaining this is why the government's doing this. That context is not unimportant, but ultimately if you're a busy builder who needs to know what do I have to do to make sure I comply, you don't really need to be delivered a sermon about how we're going to save the planet.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just people know that we've got issues and we need to work on improving environmental performance. That's fine. They just need to know what they're required to do, and that's where we add real value.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think we don't want to be told what to do and like someone's trying to catch us. We want someone that's in our corner that wants to guide us and wants to help us and make sure we get it right. And that's the difference. When I talked about putting things in layman's terms, that's where HIA come in to just have a conversation. They genuinely want us to get it right. Whereas the VBA, I don't know, I question, they just kind of, here's the rules, there you go, make sure you do it. Whereas that you've got that support with HIA.
And how to go about it.
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned before saving the planet.
Welcome to Cosentino City, Melbourne, your second office designed for architects, interior designers, builders, and property developers. Our aim is to provide a versatile environment where you can host events, client visits, and meetings, all while feeling at home. Cosentino City is a hub for designers, architects, and builders to collaborate and bring their design dreams to life. The space is carefully designed to showcase our wide range of products, including our signature Decton in various applications. You will find our materials on walls, floors, and in full bathroom displays, demonstrating the versatility and beauty of Cosentino products. Our showroom features a thoughtfully curated color palette that ranges from light, calm, neutral tones in the main area to dark, moody hues in the meeting rooms. This design choice creates a beautiful atmosphere that inspires creativity and innovation. We've installed a digital slab in our reception area, allowing you to explore our entire collection of stone products available in Australia. This large screen provides a dynamic and interactive way to visualize how our products can be used in your projects. At Cosentino, we often talk about the Cosentino DNA, a unique blend of innovation, quality, and design excellence. This DNA runs through all our city centers around the world, and Melbourne is no exception. By combining this global vision with the local style of Melbourne, we've created a showroom that stands out in the design world. As you explore Cosentino City, We hope you'll be inspired by the possibilities our products offer. Whether you're here to work, collaborate, or find the perfect materials for your projects, Cosentino City is designed to meet your needs and exceed your expectations. Join us at Cosentino City, Melbourne, and be part of a space where design dreams come true.
Saving the Planet, we're here today in Melbourne City, showroom for Cosentino. They are someone who is trying to save the planet. Cosentino services. We thank them gracefully. We love filming from here. We love viewing their products. We love talking about their products. They are well behind, so they not only supply, they also manufacture. They are in Spain and also in Brazil, where their quarries are. They export all around the world. They're in 160 places around the planet, and their sole core of the way they manufacture is providing for a better planet in the future. So big thank you to Cosentino as well, and again thank you for allowing us to film in your Melbourne City, the beautiful new Melbourne City showroom. So if there's anyone that's really trying to save the planet and assist the planet, especially in the built environment, it is Cosentino. So thank you so much to them.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. And look, they're an important part of HIA, them and other suppliers. And look, there is a common view out there by a lot of people that these companies are manufacturing products with completely difference to what the consequences are. Now, even if you want to believe that they're bad people, the simple fact is their marketplace, their consumers don't want that. And quite frankly, I don't believe they want it either. I think they do want to make a difference. They want to help people get into their beautiful home. They want to give them great products which are safe and friendly to use, and also help look after the environment. And I think we need to be sometimes a little bit stronger in saying to government, the attacks on businesses that are supplying materials can be somewhat overstated. They can be rather emotional. There's a lot of things that can be improved throughout our world, yes, but I think suggesting that, taking the view that, oh, it's a big company, therefore it must be bad, it's a very simplistic, ideologically limiting approach to take, and I certainly think there should be more credit given to the effort put in by Cosentino and other companies to
Who have that full, absolutely. And I did interview Itai, who is the Vice President of Oceania for Cosentino. We discussed all of that. He went through how they manufacture, why they manufacture, what's the story behind. So that's another episode that's very interesting for people to view. But another topic I'd love to talk about is consumer choices. Let's talk about it. It's a hot topic right now. I guess it always has been, but now more than ever, consumer choices. Let's have a bit of a touch on that as well.
Absolutely. And look, people really want to have the home they want. There tends to be a lack of appreciation by government at the moment about how people choose to live. There's regrettably a paternalistic approach often taken by governments, which I think at times distorts their thinking about how to engage with consumers in particular. People spend a lot of time in their home. It's very important to them. It's often part of their identity, having their home the way they want it.
Absolutely.
And considering that most people live in a home for at least 7 years plus, it's really important that you have it right. And I think at times and particularly in Victoria, there's a bit of a push towards the idea that, well, you shouldn't really be living in a detached home. You should be living in an apartment. Be closer to amenities, be closer to shopping, be closer to public transport. And yes, for some people, that's great. However, for a lot of other people, they want to have their own little block of land, or big block of land. They want to have big windows. They want to be able to see the sun. They want to be able to have a bit of a garden, maybe not a big one, but they want to have a bit of a garden, and they want their own space. They don't want to have to share walls with neighbours. They don't want to have to be part of an owner's corporation and run the risks of that. They don't want to be in an apartment building which potentially doesn't even have domestic building insurance because it's too high.
Correct.
Those people make rational choices, and at times I think government take the view that you should be valuing certain things because we think they're important. People aren't stupid. I think government tends to forget that. I mean government in general, not individually. Governments tend not to understand that people make rational choices about where they live, about the type of home they want to live in, about what they want in their home. And we should be more respectful of that. A classic example is, of course, the current trend towards greater energy efficiency, which no one seriously questions that we want more energy efficient homes. That's a great outcome to achieve. The question is, how do you make that work? How do you make it not so expensive that people can't afford to have a home full stop? Because at the moment, the reforms we're having going through, along with other changes such as cutting off supply of access to gas, are making it harder and harder and more expensive to get a home built. So be it an apartment, be it a house. And governments need to understand that people fundamentally still need a home. At the moment we're facing shockingly low rental availability rates. We've got rent increases coming up over and over again. We've got a shortage now of rental stock because people are starting to exit the market of supplying rental properties.
Correct.
Yeah.
And people are left now thinking, where do I live? We have a massive shortage of homes. And whilst I will give full credit to the Commonwealth and Victorian governments for agreeing that they need to increase the number of homes being built and their targets, regardless of whether you think they're realistic or not, at least now they're going for high targets. They're at least accepting that they need to get more homes built. The challenge now for us is to get the government to understand they need to support homes that people want to live in. At the moment, the government hasn't yet progressed past. We know we need to increase supply.
It's where to now what to do.
The next challenge for government now is, how do we increase supply so that people will get the homes they want? Because for homes to be built, unless the government pays for them themselves, we're talking about social housing, you need to have consumers deciding that they will buy the home to be built. And we're seeing that with apartments, what's being built is essentially the high-end, very expensive apartments, because that's where the cases stack up to actually build them at the moment. Consumers aren't going for the lower price products, but they are still going for detached homes when they can. And even at the moment, while we have declining sales, we still have a fairly significant number of new homes being sold every year. And we still know there's a lot of consumer interest. We still get reports from members that consumers are looking at their display homes, they're going to display villages, they're asking questions, they're not yet necessarily signing on the dotted line. We probably need interest rates to go down for that.
They're waiting for that.
Or be about to go down, but it's happening. And so that is a very strong indication that consumers will not be told by government how and where they should live. They will make rational choices and government should respect that.
How do you see the next 12 months panning out based on that, based on the government needing to increase supply, based on interest rates and consumers not yet signing on the dotted line, but they do seem close? Because I know I sit here and it seems like there is some light at the end of the tunnel, that the pipeline does seem to be getting fuller as we look forward, but it's not right now. It's still a little bit difficult and we are in difficult times. And you talk about the regulation changes with 7 stars and the cost implications of that, you know, and we touched on before that a lot of the time consumers can't see the benefits of it, so it's very hard to see, you know, your value and return on your money with those sorts of things, but they are there and there isn't much we can do about them. But obviously, you know, those in the industry, you and I, we understand how good it is and how valuable we will be going forward, but it's hard to get that message across to consumers. But just over the next 12 months, you know, I think are we sort of going to start to see a bit of a change in the tides with the supply? And
look, I think we'll start to see some green shoots coming up late this year, early next year. There's a couple of dynamics to think about. One is that consumers have been low in confidence because of interest rates. but also, let's be frank, because of concerns about the solvency
Yeah.
of builders,
Yes.
and
That's a
also
massive.
how long it takes for homes to be completed. Now, during COVID and during the surge afterwards, home building activity slowed down dramatically because there was not enough people to do the work. Materials were being delayed, being delivered more in less timely fashion, and quite frankly, for a lot of consumers, they found that 6-month jobs suddenly became 12 months plus jobs, and that was disappointing. Builders didn't want that to happen because their cash flow obviously relies on progress payments, but at the same time, they can't do the impossible. So consumer confidence has taken a bit of a hit. The insolvencies, particularly last year, have not helped. That said, I would argue that most builders now have managed to deal with the consequences of the surge after COVID. They've managed to prepare their businesses for a quieter time, and that now they're hopefully gearing up for when demand returns. Now, when will demand return? Well, I think here this is where FOMO will start to kick in.
Yeah.
Fear of missing out. Everyone knows that at some stage now the Reserve Bank is going to start signalling it's going to cut rates. They're not doing it yet. When they start signalling, I suspect we'll start to see a bit of a movement with people deciding, well, costs will always go up. I might as well get started sooner rather than later and get things moving. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see a bit of an increase in sales as the year progresses.
I'm expecting, and again, don't quote me on this, but from what I've been researching and speaking to people about and getting that information, I think possibly around September, October, we will see more of an increase possibly
That's certainly
around
possible.
Victoria.
In part, there's probably two key things that will be relevant there. One will be signalling from the Reserve Bank.
Correct.
If it signals that no, it won't be cutting rates until 25 and maybe even mid-25, then that would probably dampen some of that enthusiasm. The other thing I hate to say would be also that if we had more insolvencies, that would also probably delay a bit of consumer confidence. I think though with that one, the risk is less. I think, as I said, most builders have managed to weather the storm. They're now entering into contracts which are profitable. They're not stuck with legacy jobs which are underpriced, courtesy of the COVID surge. However, we are going to have to wait to see. But I think at this stage, quietly confident, but it will be a gradual return. And hopefully next year we'll start to see people return. Because let's not forget, ultimately, Melbourne's population and Victoria's population continues to grow. Yes, we are extraordinarily reliant on overseas migration as opposed to other parts of the country, but our population still grows.
It's now exceeded Sydney. Melbourne has now exceeded
In some
Sydney's
measures,
population.
depending on how you define Sydney and Melbourne, Melbourne's bigger, and it was once before as well. It wasn't until 1920, I think it was, that Sydney became the biggest city again after the gold rush. So Melbourne will be bigger again, and we will have people wanting homes built. Now, what homes do those people want? The feedback I get from my members is it's not a big apartment block or small apartment block in the inner city Melbourne or even out in the burbs. It's generally their own house. And that's where we're going to see the surge come back. Yes, we should hopefully see apartment sales go up as well, but I think the real growth will be definitely in those greenfield and the knockdown rebuild areas. We'll start to see an improvement there.
What are you seeing in your luxury high-end? More so?
Custom,
Custom, of course. What are you seeing? What are your clients, what are people coming to you and inquiring more of? Are they wanting the bigger space, the smaller? I'm assuming they want their bigger homes, is what Keith said now, you know, with the yard, the garden and that sort of thing. What are you getting?
Absolutely. Keith's hit the nail on the head from where we're at, and that's why I wanted to ask about the next 12 months, because I feel like we've seen that trough, and you know, builders have been able to understand now what the future looks like with supply and costs of building and things like that. So we've had that bit of a reset, and not just with builders but with suppliers. Everyone seems to be talking the same thing. We've really reset. We've been slow, and people have adapted their business to accommodate with that. But we're seeing an increase now of inquiries, and that was why I sort of asked, and I said I can see a bit of light coming, because our inquiries have started to ramp up again, but they all are high end. We're talking some really, really nice homes, you know.
Was it more since your Kpod interview? I have to ask that because on our social media where we've had the shorts, people were just inquiring, messaging me, Katerina, how do I contact this person? I want to learn, how can he build? Can he build for us?
We need a Kpod hotline.
We need anything's possible. Anything. We'll funnel it through and have a funnel for the HIA. Look, my voice for the HIA is enough. We don't need more of a funnel.
Can I just make a point on that?
Of
Actually,
course.
ironically,
Yes.
obviously we have a phone number for our members to call, and that's fantastic. And we really urge members to call that number, 1300 650 620.
That number again.
1300 650 620.
Thank you.
I would though make a point, we do get also, unfortunately, a lot of consumer calls.
Right.
Now, I say unfortunately because normally we aren't able to answer the questions they have. We're an industry association. We obviously represent builders and others involved in the building business.
And developers as well.
And
you mentioned.
developers.
Correct.
Building surveyors, contractors,
Architects,
suppliers.
designers.
They can join us as well, absolutely. But consumers, we generally can't give them the information they're after. And I think it's a bit of a damning indictment on the government that a lot of consumers feel that they have to contact us to get help. But they should be getting from government agencies like Consumer Affairs Victoria.
What would a question be that's coming through to give our viewers an
A classic
understanding?
example would simply be, I've got a contract with a builder, I want to know what this clause means.
Right. Okay.
Or something like, can I find out if my builder's registered? Now we can refer them to the BBA website.
Yeah.
Another one we get, unfortunately, sometimes is, how do I check that I've got insurance for my home? So those things really are questions for government agencies. We really can't, look, quite frankly, we're obviously there for builders and others in the industry. We're not there for consumers. That's not what we don't want to see them helped. Far from it, we want them to be comfortable, we want them to feel safe and secure with their building contracts. But we're not the right people to answer those questions. So we would certainly, all I want to say is that if you're watching this podcast and you think, I might call HIA and you're a consumer, I don't want to be rude, but I do want to stress that you may find we'll suggest you call someone else.
But that still help as well. I mean, you're still guiding, your team is still guiding them, contact these people or contact the BPA or look this person up. So that's help as well. And
Definitely.
I guess the positive note on that for consumers contacting the HIA is that they also see you as the hub. They see you as the go-to.
That's right.
Many people, everyone that I speak to in the industry, in the built form industry, HIA is on the tip of their tongue and they do know that they can come for advice.
A lot of good points that you made.
Golden nuggets, we like to call
Sounds
them.
like golden nuggets with more trademarks.
Yes, more trademarks.
Yeah, the HIA just really reiterated about, as a builder, it's like a feeling of we're going into a boxing match, and that's going to be a lot better and a lot nicer knowing that we have all HIA standing here right behind us rather than going in by ourselves. You talked about that you're here for the builders and the developers and the industry. That support, is just, it's priceless.
Like I said, it's the boardroom.
Yeah, just feeling like you've got people like Keith and all the team at HIA behind you, no matter what scenario we're going into. Yes. That's just such a nice feeling because it can be so lonely out there. But the other part of it is that, there's clearly, a gap between consumers' understanding and the building industry. And for us, we have HIA, so we have them to lean on, which is so nice. Who do the consumers have? They just don't have anyone. And that's something that I'd love to see in the future, is to try and bridge that gap between builders and consumers. And it's easy for me to say because I know, that's a service that we try to provide with our clients, and we build great relationships with all of our clients. And by the end of every project, I hope that they have a better understanding of the building and the building industry and what goes into every single build and project. Yes. And they understand it a lot better, and they have a better appreciation for it. I have conversations with clients at the end and go, wow, I just had no idea. I'm so glad that we had you. And for us, maybe a little bit off topic now, but clients, they have a vision, but they don't have the capabilities, and we just need to be that vehicle. We're the one that bridges that gap to take their vision and bring it alive, you know. So we talk about consumers, they've got their vision and different ideas of houses that they want, and they all want different things. As a custom home builder, and it's obviously different for every builder, but our goal is to take their vision, understand it, and make sure it comes to life, you know, and work hand in hand with them. And, you know, with us, it's easy to say that you're in safe hands, and we will show you, we'll lead you through the whole process of, you know, showing you, helping you understand the contract if there is any clauses you don't understand, or showing your warranty insurance and making sure you've got everything available to you to feel safe and comfortable, because in the current climate, feeling safe and comfortable is probably one of the most important things, because there is builders going under everywhere, you know. So easy for us to say we're in a great position where we can do that, but it's hard, you know. How do I convince a client that's just come to us and they don't really know us for a bar of soap except for what they maybe see on Instagram or on Kpod? They just don't know. So easy for me to tell them, but you know, you've got to bridge that gap, and they don't have the support.
Yes. There's a couple of probably good points I'd like to explore you've raised. One would be, first of all, the builder's engagement with the client. My experience is successful builders are very good at taking the time to understand the vision, the desires of the client, but then also being very good at managing their expectations and being realistic. Sometimes the client will come to you with the silver budget, expecting the gold class product, and you need to work with them to say, look, the reality is, particularly at the moment when we've got extra regulation making prices up, you need to work with them to say, okay, well, look, that's what you want to achieve. However, if you're going to go down that path, this is what you're looking at probably financially. And talking them through it and helping them to work out what they can and can't achieve. And that's important, because good builders know that they need to make sure their clients' expectations are set properly at the start. And quite frankly, there's builders who at times like to say to the client, look, I don't think I'm the builder for you. I'm sorry.
For sure.
And that's better than trying to go and take the job and then have it go pear-shaped later.
Absolutely.
The other key point I'd like to stress also is that at times HIA, we may not directly talk to consumers and answer their questions, but what we do is we produce a lot of information for our members, a lot of which finds its way to consumers. And that's fine. We write our material assuming that whilst it's written for builders, it will be looked at by consumers. We also at times do put out fact sheets or similar documents when there's a particular issue to help explain to consumers what's going on. And a good example would be that during COVID, for example, when jobs were being delayed and then prices started going up, we had information sheets to tell consumers. These information sheets were useful because they gave consumers the confirmation about what their builder was telling them about conditions was actually correct. And we particularly found this was important during COVID. And Victoria, I know a lot of the audience didn't experience COVID like Victorians did. Our government made sure we got the full-blown experience of restrictions, barriers, carry around ID, carry around special cards to go to work, that sort of stuff. We produced a lot of information which helped our members translate a lot of very badly written government rules.
And it saved their sanity. I'd spoken to quite a few of them. They just didn't know what to do. They didn't know where to go. They didn't understand the process. And it certainly helped a lot of people having that.
Again, it's that support, but there's often a mentality of us versus them. I say often, but it's not all the time. Us versus them with clients and builders, and we try and build a relationship where we are a team and support each other. But the us versus them mentality, when a builder tells them that I can't get the materials or we can't get the labour because of COVID, to have HIA giving that credibility back to the builder is tenfold, you know, because it's stressful as a builder when you've got that.
If I could just turn the tables on you for a second and ask you a question. What's the thing you enjoy most about the home building process with a client?
Is Keith trying to co-host and take over the episode?
I wasn't prepped for this.
You're doing well. Were you ready for this?
It's a good question. I've talked to Katerina about it in the past, and it's our passion for building. And you know, we just handed over a project just last week, and it's reaching that goal with the client that fulfills us, and it's so rewarding. This home that we're actually going to put in for a HIA reward is quite amazing. So this is how invested in the project we are and love it. But the day before handover, the client sends me a text late at night, huge long text, just how thankful they are and appreciative and how much they love the house. That's the answer to the question. That's why we do it. And even on the day, it's almost like a party when we do hand over and the client's there. We're just having fun and we're enjoying it, and she's enjoying it, and we're having a laugh and a great chat, and it goes for hours. We're obviously going around the house, doing the handover process and showing everything, but we're just enjoying our time together, enjoying the house. Two texts, another one yesterday saying how much she loves the house. I had one 2 days ago, I think, as well. She was just giving me an update on moving in and how much she loves it.
We see that on your Instagram, and I see them celebrating with a bottle of champagne and this and that, and I'm thinking, where's the party? Why aren't we invited? Because you can see the enthusiasm of your client.
So it's about building the relationship with the client, which I value so much, and then getting to deliver to them exactly what they hoped and dreamed. Because at the end of the day, we are building people's dreams. We're in the business, we're in the industry trying to build what people have worked for all their lives and their most prized possession, and they've worked so hard to get the money together to be able to do this. We want it to be perfect for them because, like you alluded to earlier, it's their most important possession and asset. So we want it to be perfect for them. So bringing that together and then getting to see their face and how rewarding that is. But just even those text messages, that pretty much makes it all worth it. When it comes to that, as a business, we obviously have to charge for our time and building a house, but when you get that text message, you don't want to charge. That is why it's so amazing to get that appreciation.
Welcome to 3-8 Building Group, where dreams take shape. Our passion lies in crafting luxurious custom homes that stand the test of time. From the ground up, we blend innovation, quality, and sustainability to create spaces that resonate with your lifestyle. At 3-8 Building Group, we understand that your home is more than just a structure. It's a reflection of your unique taste and personality. That's why we're committed to delivering exceptional craftsmanship and attention to detail in every project we undertake. Whether it's a new build, renovation, or extension, we're here to make it happen. With us, you can trust that your vision will be brought to life with precision and care. 3-8 Building Group, where excellence meets elegance.
And I asked that question being pretty confident you would answer handover, because that's what virtually all builders I speak to say to me.
Yeah.
Home builders love the handover. They love to get that client into their home, have them happy. And I think even with the bigger building companies, as they get bigger and bigger, it's set into the DNA that the business is about getting people into a home. Yes, it's building a house or building an apartment, but ultimately you have a house because it's your home. And I think even the biggest builders haven't lost sight of that they are giving people their dream, their vision, the place to call their own, to be safe, secure, and ultimately that's what HIA is all about in a very fundamental way. We believe that people need to have the financial and health security of having their own home, and they should be given every chance by us and by government to achieve that outcome. And we're very proud that we do what we do to help people get into a home.
Definitely, it's a fundamental part, like you said, that support that you can give to us and them to make sure that happens. Without that support, we may not be able to achieve those goals. So it is a huge team effort, but that handover process is very rewarding.
With that being said, Keith, I know we have so much to talk about, and we're here to provide education and assistance to our viewers. I'd love to invite you back for a part B of this interview.
That would be lovely.
For a Kpod interview series. So I really think we need to have a part B and just continue. And until then, more topics may pop up that we'll see in the news that people are asking So I'd love for that to happen in the near future.
That would be
We'd love
great.
to have you back on board, and again, we'd love for you to co-host.
Sure, yeah, I'd love to, yeah. I
So
feel like we
let's-
could go on.
We did send out a little bit of a little survey, and people out there did know that we were going to interview you today. So I have a couple of questions from people
Yes.
out there in the world, knowing that Keith Ryan is coming on board. So we'll keep this a little bit fun. One of the questions were, if you, Keith Ryan, Executive Director of the HIA, could invite 3 people, either living or not living, to a dinner party, who would they be and why? Doesn't have to
Ooh.
have anything to do with housing at Kpod. 3 people,
Oh, look,
past and present.
yeah, look, that's an interesting one. Where do you start? I think probably go with living. I'll try and make it manageable.
Okay, sure. So we can invite them to a dinner
I
party.
reckon I'd love to invite someone like Paul Keating, because I don't necessarily agree with all his politics,
Right.
but he has made a massive difference to our country, and I think he would be an interesting character. I'd like to be ready for a few nasty comments, but that's all right. I would like that. Another person I would love to meet would be bring in one of the older, longer-term members of ours who've been around for a long, long time. And I'm thinking about not so necessarily the big building companies, but just people who've been involved in the industry for a long time. I get to meet a few of them when we go off and hand out certificates for long-term membership.
Yes.
And it'd be good to have just one of those as a sample to talk about the experience they've had and what they've seen. And probably also, I reckon Paul might get a few shocks hearing about what his
Yeah.
mates do to builders and to business in general.
Yes. Yes.
And maybe, let him advise a third person. I'll invite you, Katerina. Why not? I reckon you'd be an interesting character.
You hit the nail on the head. I love that. We would bring the team and film all of that and have a Kpod episode at your dinner party.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm
There you go.
flabbergasted, as they say. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. As long as I could bring...
I think I want to co-host this one too. I
Yeah.
want to get at this dinner table. It actually sounds quite nice.
Absolutely. I think we can arrange that. Oh, I love this question. So what's the best piece of advice? Dig deep into your thoughts here. Best piece of advice that you've ever received, and how has it influenced your life and career? Just one golden nugget.
Probably the best bit of advice I was given was years ago when I was a very young lawyer. I was told by the grizzled old partner of the law firm I just joined, there's one thing you must never ever do, and that is upset the receptionist or the executive assistant of the head partner. And the message was very much, there are people who do work which may not seem important to you in the sense of they're not giving out legal advice, they're not running the business, but they make things happen every day, particularly the receptionist. But I know it's a role that doesn't have quite the same traction as it used to now, but those people at the front line, they are the ones who, quite frankly, nothing happens if you don't have them doing their jobs. And they deserve not just your support, but also your respect. And I'd like to think that throughout my career, as I've managed to progress upwards, I haven't lost sight of that, and I do appreciate and respect the great work done by everyone from the base up, because quite frankly, you need them all.
I love that, and thank you for that, because I have seen that as well. The way you interact with people in your office, and as a judge of the HIA, I was so grateful, and the others as well, that you actually came into the first judges meeting. You thanked us for our time. I mean, that goes to show. And from the receptionist, your front line that you have at the HIA to the presidents, for example, I see that you speak to everyone in the same tone and with the same respect.
Yes.
And I congratulate you on that, because you don't see that everywhere. And I think that's why you're so successful and so much loved within the HIA, because you stick to that golden nugget that came to you when you were a younger lawyer.
Definitely, I think it's just basic decency, and it's a
Yeah.
message which probably was ingrained in me from my family, which obviously makes a big difference, but it's something I do try to stick to. I know that at times I get, particularly when you're dealing with crisis situations, you can be a bit flustered, but I like to think, and I'll probably now get a former staff member call me up and say, listen, you did this to me once, but I certainly really strongly believe that's important.
Yeah.
Respect, treat people with dignity, and most people will do the right thing
Yes.
if you give them a chance. That's important.
Yeah.
Keith Ryan, thank you so much. It's
Thank
been
you
an
very much.
absolute pleasure. Absolute
Yeah, pleasure.
pleasure.
Thank
We
you.
look forward to part B.
Yes,
I will
absolutely.
have you
Can't wait.
on board as well. We look forward
We're
to
not
that.
done yet.
No.
Absolutely not. And again, Kpod is here to educate, to help people all around the planet in various aspects of architecture, property, real estate and design. And Keith is a key part of that here in Victoria and not only in Australia itself. So we're here to educate and we look forward to having you back on board.
Thank you very
for
much
your
for having me.
time. And next time we might talk about the HIA awards as well. I'd love to
Absolutely.
get that in as well. So thank you so much, and
Thank
we'll
you.
look forward to seeing you on the next Kpod.